New student at Beachwood in middle school, weighing 60 pounds and limited options from a sports standpoint. Saw wrestling, didn't know what it was, thought I'd give that a shot, and rest was history from there. Yeah. Head coach in middle school, Scott Peters was our coach, and he followed us to the high school and became our coach there. Had a number of assistants, Scripps and Tolan, and Coach I. Marino joined us later as well. Pete Cimarroni was the head coach for 2 years, and then Scott came in. I think a good era for the sport of wrestling, especially in Ohio and Cuyahoga County, and hotbed of wrestling back then, early mid-90s. Well, we had a lot of rivalries within our conference in the MAC 8 back then, so it was a good time for the sport. Making state for the first time, and kind of getting that monkey off your back and accomplishing goals. That was a big part of what we used to do. Is we had big goals, but we had small goals. And hitting those goals and the memories of that are what comes to my mind for sure. I lost in the state finals by a couple points to a returning state champ, and it was close, but so I fell a little bit short. But so didn't get the ultimate goal. But some of the older guys on the team that I was watching, mostly Brian Peters at the time, was a couple years older than me and contending for state titles, and I looked up to him and his work ethic, and I tried to model a lot of my effort the way he did it, as well as the coaching staff, all the coaches. Well, I always looked up to Coach I. I mean, he was just a model of the sport. He was actually coaching at some of, I want to say he was at Orange for a year and maybe Brush when we were in high school. So he actually coached against us in a couple matches. So I learned, I think it was our senior year, that he was coming back on board, and I was thrilled about it. I think the people, they were worried, mixed feelings, and he was coaching against us, and now he's coming in. But I was from the get-go just super excited about having Coach I on our team and part of the program again. And he was one of our teachers as well, so got to talk a little bit of wrestling in the hallways. I mean, he brought a lot of energy and enthusiasm to the room. There was no outside world. It was just, wrestling, and that was the way the focus was. And I learned when I did make the state finals that we had a number of coaches and assistant coaches at the time, and I was excited when they told me it was going to be Scott and Coach I in my corner. So I was very excited about that. Really wish I could have delivered and brought home a title. There hadn't been one in many, many years at that point in '94. So, but it was great having Coach I in my corner. I guess my contribution is, kind of looking around the room, I haven't been here in a while, but there was a bit of a gap here, in placers and, state qualifiers and that kind of thing. So I think, we kind of jump-started that. If you look back in history, there was a few guys, but, I think we really helped. That early '90s team really helped, I think, build the program up. So I'm proud to be, one little part of that. Self-confidence, not arrogance or cockiness, but a true belief that you can accomplish just about anything that you put your mind to. Wrestling teaches you that from a young age, whenever you start, and you get out what you put in, and that's just a life lesson. It's true in family and business and everything in your life. And it started for me with wrestling. I attribute a lot of things that have gone well for me professionally and at home to building up self-confidence, and knowing what you can do, deep down, if you put your full effort into something. Well, first advice I'd give you, and I've heard this so many times throughout the years of fellow, classmates and younger, students as well, is they always say, I really wish I wouldn't have given up. A lot of people do the sport, and there's bumps and bruises along the way for everybody. I say just stick with it. I don't know anyone that regrets having stuck with it. I know so many people that regret, giving it up.